Hello everyone! Welcome to another episode of At Home with the Lincolns. My name is Ranger Jasmine. Charlotte D'Souza, Mariah Vance, Ruth Burns Stanton. Do any of these names mean anything to you? Maybe not, but they did to the Lincolns. These are the names of some of the hired girls who worked for the Lincolns while they lived here from 1844 to February of 1861. It is from their accounts that we can get some insight into the relationship between the Lincolns and the hired girls, as well as some personal perspectives into what the Lincoln family were like. The member of the Lincoln family that the hired girls interacted with the most was Mary Lincoln. She supervised most of the hired girls' work. Hired girls' accounts on their relationship with Mary are mixed, with some of them seeming to have gotten along with her, while others seem to have not. Mary likely had high standards for her hired help, and perhaps voiced her displeasure when they weren't met. From a book written by Lincoln's law partner, William Herndon, the hired girl Margaret Ryan had only bad things to say about Mary Lincoln, and highlighted Mary's temper. On the other hand, hired girl Ruth Burns Stanton called Mary a, quote, very nice lady, and Mary is known to have presented Margaret Brown, another hired girl, with this nightcap as a gift, showing Mary's generosity. Perhaps the account from an unnamed Portuguese Lincoln maid gives the best insight. She said of Mary, Mary takes no sassy talk, but if you are good to her, she is good to you and a friend to you. In the end, Mary's relationship with each of the hired girls was different, and we can never know how well or how poorly she got along with each one of them. However, I can imagine that her relationship with her employees wasn't too different from other employers of her time period or of today. She got along with some of them and didn't with others. The existing hired girls' accounts of Abraham Lincoln overall shine a much more favorable light upon him than that of Mary's. Ruth Burns Stanton described Lincoln as a very good and kind man, although she admitted she could not remember much about him as she had been quite young, and he used to be at his office all the day long. Charlotte D'Souza gave a glowing description of Abraham Lincoln, calling him one of the kindest and most pleasant creatures ever put into this world, and describing him as having a unusually mild and gentle temperament. As for the children, it was also the responsibility of the hired girls to care for them. Given some of the wild stories of the Lincoln boys, I can imagine they were the bane of the hired girls' existence, as well as people they cared for like their own family. It is even possible that some of the younger hired girls may have played with the Lincoln boys while keeping an eye on them. Regardless, it is undeniable that the hired help had a significant impact on the children's lives, as well as their parents. One of the Lincoln's hired help, whose story probably expresses this best, is that of Mariah Vance's. Mariah Vance was employed for the longest known period of any of the Lincoln's hired girls, from 1850 to 1860, when Robert Lincoln was around 7 to 17 years old. She worked several times a week in the Lincoln home doing cooking and laundry, and although she had her own family and didn't live in the Lincoln home, yet she still had a profound impact on Robert's childhood. This is evident as in the late 19th century, when Robert was all grown up, he went to visit her in her home in Danville, Illinois. That day, Robert had been asked to speak at a Republican rally, but when the time came for him to give his speech, no one could find him. Where was he, you might ask? Why, at Mariah Vance's, of course. They took him back to the rally where he gave his speech, and afterwards he returned to her house where she cooked for him the best corn pone and bacon you ever tasted. Corn pone, if you aren't familiar with it, is a variation of cornbread. Robert must have really liked Mariah's because afterwards, being president of the Pullman Car Company, he put her on the monthly Pullman pension, making her the only hired girl to receive this benefit. As we can see, the hired help had meaningful and memorable relationships with the Lincolns. Whether or not they were able to control the Lincoln children, meet Mary's expectations, or interact with the busy Abraham Lincoln, they unquestionably had an impact on the Lincoln family. We all have that one person in our lives, be it a neighbor, a friend, or a caretaker, who is like family to us, despite not being related by blood. Maybe for Robert, it was Mariah Vance. What do you think? And is there anyone like that for you in your life? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll see you next time on At Home with the Lincolns.